The indoor sports arena of the Moshood Abiola National Stadium in Nigeria's capital was filled with party delegates. Many of them had traveled far and wide across Nigeria's 36 states to the federal capital to take part in the People's Democratic Party presidential primaries. At around few minutes past 7 p.m., the national chairman of the party, Iyocha Anyu, declared the presidential primaries open.
When we took over, I urge you all to keep hope alive that with PDP, Nigeria shall rise again. Today, as I welcome all you delegates, observers and stakeholders to our national convention, I repeat the same words to you. Don't lose hope. Don't give up on Nigeria. PDP is coming to the rescue.
11 candidates were expected to appear on the ballot, called from different zones of the country. Ayo Fayoshe, Dele Momodu, Pius Anyim, Udom Emmanuel, and Yusum Wike were all from states in the south, while Aminu Tambuwal, Bala Mohammed, Bukola Saraki, and Atiku Abubakar from northern states in the country.
Nigeria expects to see a Nigerian president, someone that can win the 2023 election, a president that understands the 6 zones of this country, a president that will be a president for all.
All the candidates were given a last opportunity to convince party delegates to support their bid.
The solution to the security, to the economy, to the infrastructure, to the foreign policy, to development of this country are already provided at a subnational level. A vote for Udom Emmanuel today is a vote for hope, restoration for Nigeria.
It is not just about becoming a candidate. You need somebody that will become a candidate, win the election, and rescue the election. I am one of those persons with all humility that can do it.
You must have a courageous leader, a fearless leader, somebody who can withstand APC. And it is me.
After then, the voting commenced. After the voting process, the primaries election committee returning officer announced the results.
Congratulations, His Excellency Atiku Abubakar. Government of the APC has disunited Nigerians completely between North and South, East and West, Muslims and Christians. And I therefore pledge that I will work to ensure I restore unity.
With Nigeria's main opposition party now with a flag bearer for the 2023 general elections, indeed, the long process of preparing to seat Nigeria's governing party will begin. From Abuja, Idong Joseph, News Central Television.
Now joining us this morning to further explore this conversation is Demola Olarinwaju, a political analyst. Good morning, Demola. Thank you very much for joining us.
Good morning, and it's my pleasure to be with you.
All right, quickly, let's get your quick thoughts on the Saturday primaries of the PDP. Was the outcome in any way shocking for you?
No, it wasn't. It wasn't. I think I had said about a year ago that I think that, the former Vice President Atiku Abubakar would again clinch the ticket. As it goes in politics, the PDP is out of power. And the party definitely wants to continue to put forward the same names that it had in 2019 because you don't want to take a risk and find out that the voters are not willing to take a risk with new names. And so it's always easier to replicate the previous ticket. So I think I expected it. I kind of predicted it. I said this was likely going to be the happen. But of course, what no one could envisage what no one could envisage was the intrigues, the power play. Nobody knew how that was going to play out. And of course, some aspects of it were a bit surprising.
All right, let's talk about the PDP. We know that the PDP, or the APC rather, has postponed their primaries to the 6th of June. And we did see videos, or rather photos, of the former leader or a current leader in the APC, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, congratulating the presidential candidate for the PDP, saying you will be a worthy opponent. Do you think that the PDP should be wary of the APC in this regard? Do you think that this is going to be indeed their biggest contender?
Well, I think there are a number of worthy contenders in the All Progressive Congress against the PDP. I think, APC itself is the one that should be worried because, where does APC go? A lot of, over the last couple of weeks, what we've seen is that APC has tried to push forward its national convention so that it would not hold its own before the PDP hold its own. And the reason is mainly because the issues around zoning, the PDP has been able to navigate that. The PDP through its party platform open to the north and to the south. And what the PDP made clear was that PDP is not the one in power with Muhammadu Buhari. PDP is trying to get back into power, and so whether north or south, it doesn't really matter in the PDP because PDP cannot zone what it does not have. And we've now seen a northerner emerge on the platform of the PDP. From what we know, the APC is now at a crossroads. The APC has to decide whether it also wants to go to the north or whether it wants to go to the south. For APC, I think it's going to be a moral dilemma because it is the party that has produced the current president who is from the north. And if you now bring another candidate, from the north, then the question that APC members like Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu and Professor Yemi Osinbajo would be asking is, are Southerners in the APC not good enough to be president? And so I think, the APC should be quite worried that the PDP has gone north. And the question it is asking itself now is, do we want to go to the north and risk being a revolt from the Southerners who are on the platform of the APC? Or do we want to go to the south and risk leaving the north open for PDP to win? So I think APC is at the crossroads. There's a fine dilemma in the party. And it will be interesting to see how APC navigates that in the coming days.
All right, two things that I want you, if you can, squeeze it into like a minute. Two things that I want you to speak on. First of all, the exit of Peter Obi, former Anambra State Governor, from the PDP. And then, of course, his movement to the Labour Party. That has also created a lot of talking points. Do you think the PDP was fair to him? And the second question would be, or the second thing I want you to speak on is also rumors that the River State Governor, Nyesom Wike, stormed out of the convention immediately. It was found out that he didn't win the primaries. Can you quickly share your thoughts on those two topics?
Well, I think, storming out, I don't know how anyone storms out. Governor Wike simply stood up and left the primaries. I think that's a natural reaction, feeling upset about the fact that he did not win. But he has proven himself to be, a loyal member of the PDP, and that's fine. As regards His Excellency former Governor of Anambra State, Governor Peter Obi, I think well, there were a lot of issues that went down. Like I said earlier on, people wanted a repeat of the Atiku Obi ticket, but of course, he feels that he has a better chance with the Labour Party. They are holding their convention tomorrow, and we hope to see how that plays out. I understand that there might be some issues, especially because around the fact that only one person had bought the form, presidential nomination form, on the platform of the Labour Party before now. And his entrance, might have necessitated some changes in the timetable within that political party, and INEC also has to be communicated. And so I think, those might be some issues that have to be raised. So I think, Governor Peter Obi is right enough to test his mettle on the platform of the Labour Party, and we'll see how that plays out.
All right. Well, you might have a guess there. Well, let's also, get to speak about what happens next. Atiku Abubakar, there's, of course, some pressure with regards who he picks as his running mate. How do you see this playing out?
Well, I think, judging from the fact that the former Governor Peter Obi, whom you mentioned, is no longer in the party, that opens the field, basically, for a change of the ticket from what it was in 2019. Rather than having Atiku be in 2023, that's not going to be possible any longer. I think a number of people, who also ran for president, some names have been put out there that they weren't really running for president. They were hoping to be running mates, whether it was zone to the south or whether it was zone to the north and vice versa. And so that will have to be seen. But I also know that a number of people also have been trying to position. A number of president governments have been trying to position to be the running mate to His Excellency Atiku Abubakar. And I think the most important thing for him to do, moving away from learning from the 2019 experience, would be that he should not single-handedly make the choice. Now, it is well within his rights as the presidential contender, as the presidential flag bearer of the party, to choose his own running mate. It's well within his rights according to the electoral law. But I think it would be better if he allows it to be a collegiate process. If he allows the party stakeholders to choose, he should allow for robust discussions around who is going to be his running mate. I think that's the best way to navigate it. If he single-handedly chooses somebody else, we might have a situation where not everybody buys into that ticket. We've seen him sail through the first stage of it, which is, the free and fair primaries. That has happened. Now the second stage is having an inclusive selection process for the vice president. And I think, he has to allow the party to do what he needs to do as regards the selection of his vice president.
All right, thank you very much, Demola, for joining us. We look forward to having you again as this story progresses even further. And enjoy the rest of your week.
Thank you very much. I look forward to joining you again in better circumstances when I'm back.
It's all right. Now you can go take your call.